everyone. Welcome to another mini class with me. My name is Dana. And yeah, here we go into all this fun. So we are going to do a bunch of stuff with a blanket and a strap. So you can grab any sort of blanket that you have, preferably a more thicker one just because it gives you more, I guess, leverage is a good word. And for a strap, if you don't have a proper yoga strap, you can use a pole, like you could use a broom for what we do. You could use a belt, you could use a robe tie thing. You could use any sort of thick rope. If you have rope in your house, that would be cool. Maybe one day I'll go out and buy rope, but I will use my yoga strap today. So we're gonna start lying on our bellies on our blanket. So we're gonna find this blanket. Mine is in a rectangular shape, so try to get yours in a rectangular thing similar to this, and then you can roll this guy up. Find the blanket at a little bit halfway on your mat, and then you're gonna find your low belly and your hip crease right on top of the blanket. So just bring yourself down in whatever graceful way that feels nice to you. And once you get here, you can either place your hands on a palm pillow, you can place them out into the goalpost thing, and then let one cheek go to one side. Whatever feels nice to you at this time. And really just try to let everything release. Let anything go that you were doing right before this. Let anything go that you're like, oh, I have to rush to this thing afterwards. Just let it go. Let your toes go, let your butt release. Let your shoulders go, let your hands go. Just let everything melt into the blanket, embracing the extra pressure that's coming onto your low belly. And then flip your cheek if you chose that variation. Cool. Your eyes can come to a close if they aren't already. And just keep breathing, listening to your breath, following your breath to stay present in this moment. Still, once again, releasing anywhere that may have clenched up again. Notice if your breath is already changing pace. Try not to manipulate it, just let it go as it is. But notice what's happening. On your next inhale, place your hands back underneath your shoulders, forehead down on the mat, and let yourself come back into a child's pose. So elbows on the blanket or forearms, and then let your head just rest in between. Doesn't really matter what you're doing with your low body, just let your hips come back towards your heels. Forehead can touch the ground if it can, if not, just let it hang, it's totally fine. Take one more breath here. And then come to sit up on your heels. Cool, so move this blanket off to the side and we'll come into an all fours position just to give us a little bit of movement in the body before we do some more blanket stuff. So find your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, and begin to take your cats and cows, inhaling as you arch, exhaling as you round. Keep going. Taking this at any pace that you want. If it's the end of your day and you just need a little bit of movement, go slower. If it's the beginning of your day and you're like, I need to wake up for this meeting, go faster. Or you can go at a middle pace following your breath. Take this for 5, don't change your pace. 3, 2, and 1. And then flip your hands around 180 degrees. If this feels like a lot, feel free to just move them to 90 degrees where your fingers are pointing out. But from here, find your shoulders once again over your wrists, slight bend in the elbows, and take circles to the right. Beginning to open up the hips, opening up the wrists, all these joints. Strongly pressing the tops of the feet down to give you a little bit more leverage to move. You have the freedom to move your head and your shoulders and your upper body however you want. And then take your circles to the left. So you can take any sort of undulations or twists or circles or curves with your spine and your body to get whatever feels nice. Take one more. Come back to center, place the hands down. Place them out a palm print in front of you. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, come into your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, come forward to a plank pose just to measure it out. Hands underneath shoulders, feet as if they're pressing up against a wall. If you had to move, keep your hands and feet where they are and bend your knees, stick your butt up. Pedal it out a little bit just to get some more movement into the backs of the legs. And then walk your feet up and your hands back so you meet in the middle. Cool. So you have your blanket here next to you in this roll. Bring it and then step on it with your toes. So your heels are on the mat, toes are on the blanket. And then interlace your hands behind your neck and just let yourself tuck yourself in. So you're like a little turtle coming into its shell. Have a slight bend in your knees, knees tracking over toes, feet are hip width distance. You can sway from side to side if that feels nice. And then exhaling, release the arms and slowly head is last to lift. So if you have a weight on your hands and your head, roll yourself up to stand. Cool. Now, as if you're just going for a stroll, take a step forward with both feet, keep them in the same line. And now your heels are on the blanket and your toes are on the mat as if you're in a high heel too. And then once again, starting from the head, roll yourself down. And just hang here. You can take a different arm variation. So let's take interlace at the base of the back. And then let your hands interlaced come over your head. Opening up the shoulders a bit. Cool. A few more cycles of breath here. Finding that connection between the chest and the thighs so you can bend your knees a little bit more if you need. And then bring your hands back down to your low back. Let your arms go. Move the blanket from out under you. And then step yourself back into a downward facing dog. On your next inhale, bring your body forward and through to a tuck-toed up dog. Energy out the legs. Exhale, bend the knees, stick the butt up, downward facing dog. Place your knees down, untuck the toes, and then find your strap. So if this feels uncomfortable to sit on your knees, feel free to just come to a cross-legged seat. You can do it either way. I'll stay here since I just moved. And then you're gonna undo your strap in whatever way it was when you just pulled it out from something. And cool. Then you're gonna find an overhand grip on your strap. So, woohoo, I don't know what that is. Like you're going like that for a basketball shoot thing. I do like sports, but that was just a very terrible description. So, hands are forward, and then you're gonna keep your elbows straight, and then you're just gonna let them come back and behind you. Cool, try not to move your head. Let your, oops, that's annoying. Just let your arms come up and over, and if you're like, oh, that seems a little bit easier, bring your hands closer together. Ooh. So you're really getting into the shoulders. And take this 10 times. Your chin and head is staying level to the ground. Feeling any openings or little creaks in your elbows and your shoulders and just letting them be. And after you finish your 10, gonna stop with the strap in front of you and then have an underhand grip, like you're giving something away to someone because we're so generous. Cool. And same thing, bring it up and back behind you, touch the low back, up and around. And if once again that's too easy, bring your hands closer together. You want to challenge yourself to have some sensation here. So if you really aren't feeling anything, just bring it closer together. You want to create more space. So if you already have space at a certain place, then you want to create some more. So do what you need to create more. Take your 10. This is my music for this. And after you finish your 10, I'll do one more. You're gonna let the strap go and just give your shoulders a roll. Put the strap anywhere that you want. And then you're gonna re-roll your blanket if it got a little bit messy. Place it a third of the way up the mat. And then you're gonna lie down on top of it with where your shoulder blades are, your bra line is, landing on top of the mat. So you can place your feet down, knees are bent, roll yourself back, fidget into it, do whatever you need, and then enjoy that little mini back bend. Your arms can come down by your sides, they can come like straight out in a T, they can be in a cactus goalpost shape, and your feet can just splay out. Try not to have your body touching anything, so if there's a wall or a couch or a chair or your strap somewhere, move it away or move yourself around so that you don't need to touch it. And just keep breathing. Listen to your breath like we did in the beginning. This is a slightly opposite version of what we're doing. We did a lot of forward folds, so this is a nice release to do a tiny mini back bend for our mini yoga class. Take a few more breaths, just noticing how you feel. Really noticing, not judging, getting the information that your body is telling you instead of trying to perform for what you think is right. Yoga is not a performance, it's an informance. So we're just here to gather information for how we can make ourselves and our bodies feel better in the long run. Take one more breath. And then reach your arms up overhead, stretch it out as if you just woke up, and then roll over onto the right side. Take a beat here. And then using your left palm, press yourself up. Try to keep your eyes closed. We're going to come to a comfortable seat for a second. Sitting up tall, hands face down on your knees. And just notice your breath. Palms pressed together at heart center. Gratitude for taking the time out of your day to just move for a little bit. And we'll end practice with a final bow. Namaste. Thanks for coming, guys, and I hope to see you again soon, virtually, in person, all the things.